It is our traditions, ceremonies, and rituals. Each small detail carries a deep layer of our ancestors' wisdom. It is our pride, our treasure, our national encyclopedia. Let's turn the pages of this encyclopedia together. The Kazakh national games are the significant elements of our culture. The nomads paid due attention to the importance of these games because they are traditions and contests at the same time. Game is a place for communication among the representatives of different generations, and of course, it is the process of nurture and education in entertaining form. It is hard to imagine some rituals and folk festivals without national games. And today we will tell what games our children and younger generation play. And the main thing, we will describe the history and the initial meaning of our famous games. All games have the certain purpose. Why did people pay much attention to our games? Because the games were connected with military, sport and labor activities. Our ancestors who did farming and agriculture in the south of Kazakhstan or Zhitosu, for example, with the help of games taught their children. We are the heirs of nomadic culture. Life and prosperity in the steppe always depended on courage, endurance, strength, agility and ingenuity. Parents taught these character traits from early age of their children. Modern children also love and play such games as Arkan Tartys, Asık Atu, Soccer Teke, Balapandar, Aygolek, Bestas. They are taught to play these games in kindergartens and in primary schools. Every Kazakh child knows the game Aksirek Koksirek. The more participants play this game, the merrier the game is. The participants are divided into two teams and members of every team tightly hold each other's hands. Members of each team choose one player from the opposite team, try to separate this player from other players and then take him or her to their team. Usually, they choose the leaders first and those who are stronger and more skilled. In fact, it is a competition, a test of the agility, strength and confidence. During the game, children sing a special song. Children's games are divided into three types: games which only boys play, games for girls, and games which boys and girls play together. For example, both boys and girls can play the game Aksirek Koksirek, Bizden Sizge Kim Kerek. Or for example, the game Aygolek is also the game which can be played by both girls and boys. This is Asık, a famous entertainment for elder boys. Many people grew up playing this game. Asık is a dice which is made of the astragalus of the ankle of the sheep, for example. Young nomads usually increased the amount of their asıks after the toys, festivals, when dishes were cooked for a great number of guests. Aksakals, elders, after finishing the meal, kept asıks and gave them to their grandchildren for good behavior. Playing this old game helps to improve excellent skills of concentration and agility. Khan Talapai, in translation means Khan's robbery, is one of the varieties of the game Asık. Teachers of math can prove the usefulness of this game because Khan Talapai teaches children to count. How is this game played? Children put all asıks in a pile and one shouts, Khan Talapai, and each player should collect as many dice as he or she can and then calculate the quantity of collected asıks. Another famous Kazakh game is called Soccer Teke. In translation means blind goats. One player was blindfolded while the rest were hiding. This game developed ingenuity of children. Being blindfolded, they had to determine where the other players were hiding only by sound of others' movement. Our lifestyle has changed a long time ago. We are no longer migrating from one place to another. We have settled in cities. We do not move by riding the horses, we drive cars. But the Kazakhs still have a special attitude towards horses. There is no a single festival which is not accompanied with the games Alaman Bayge, Kokpar, Temi Alu, Kasku. The horse was the most important symbol for every Kazakh. Many national sports games were played riding the horse. Nowadays, the game Kokpar is widely spread game. It is the most active game among the Kazakhs and it's considered to be a Central Asian game. Sometimes this game is called Kokpar Tartu. The most powerful and skillful riders participate in this game. Here's how the historians explain the origin of the ancient game. In ancient times, Jigites portrayed themselves as predatory steppe wolves attacking cattle and killing sheep. Also, Kokpar shows the military past of nomads. Using the skills obtained in such competitions, the Batyrs could save the life of injured friend by taking him out of the battlefield. The family celebrations of only rich people, noblemen, khans, sultans were accompanied with these games. Ceremonies of memorials also were accompanied with these games, because a very large number of players took part in these games and rich people could put a lot of gifts. At that time, winners were awarded cattle, not money. Rich people, noblemen, khans and sultans used to put hundreds and thousands of heads of livestock as gifts to glorify themselves for centuries, so people could say that in honor of this or that Batyr, they were such sports games. The same games could accompany the festivals, for example, the holiday of Nowruz or the day of migrating, when people were moving from one place to another, and the Kazakhs could organize such games. This is how the game Kokpar is played today. At racetracks, the audience can even bet in the betting companies. It is men's sport, and in the past, only men could watch this game. Nowadays, women are also allowed to watch it. Even the computerized version of Kokpar was invented. Our ancestors used to have the long-distance migrations, and they always tried to select the strongest horses. And this nomadic past is strongly reflected in the game Alaman Bayge, horse racing on the long and extra-long distances over rugged terrain. Here, the courtesy skill of the rider plays a big role. It's not enough to have a runaway horse to win the racing, but the one who acts tactically, sees and understands the situation, who better prepares his horse and skillfully distributes the forces of the horse, has more chances to win. Several centuries ago, 10 to 14-year-old teenagers played the game Alaman Bayge, and it's not surprising because children grew up in the steppes quickly. And nowadays, adult men also play this game. The representatives of many tribes used to play this game, and accordingly, the gifts were very big. Sometimes 12 riders could be awarded. The winner was awarded 500 sheep, 100 horses, Chinese silk, and other gifts. Do you see how important was the game Alaman Bayge to our ancestors? But not every horse can run such races, not every horse is strong to overcome such obstacles, and these horses were prepared beforehand. Many have seen movies in which gladiators, riders, warriors or knights were trying to knock each other off the horse with the help of spear or by hands. So those knights would envy skills of Jigites who grew up playing the game Sayes. The game Sayız was very common in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. The representatives of different cities, different tribes, and different regions could take part in this game. In Kazakhstan, it had ethnic character. We competed with the Kyrgyz in this game. The spears were used as in the European night tournaments, but these spears were without pikes, so that these spears did not hurt. And the one needed to knock the opponent off the horse. It's not easy to knock the rider off the horse. The poet Olja Suleimenov wrote about one of the famous games. Catch me, Jigit. Ride the horse, Jigit. If you are in love and agile, even if horse dies, you can run. Any citizen of Kazakhstan will be glad to tell tourists about the game Kız-Kuğu. Why is this game still famous among the people? Nowadays, there are a lot of entertainment for youth. Restaurants, cinema, theater. In the past, Jigit could compete for the attention of the lady in the game Kız-Kuğu, and the lady, in her turn, showed her sympathy and challenged the Jigit. The ethnographic references note that the Kazakhs might start the game competition Kız-Kuğu during the ritual of matchmaking. The Jigit needed to catch his future bride. The famous Kazakh poet Bakhit Kairbekov describes the folk play Aksuyek as following. The youth invited to the festival spent a good time gathering around the swing, which is called Altıbakan, singing songs playing the game Aksuyek by throwing the white bone away. They throw lamb's bone and search it in the twilight, and the couples can have a little privacy.
Белую кость особо никто не играет, это как бы очень такая уже, мне кажется, забытая игра.
Nowadays, the youth does not play the game Aksuyek much, and it seems to me that this game has become a forgotten one. In the old days, people at the age of 15 to 25 went out to play this game. Mostly, they played at night, when it was dark and there was an opportunity for young people to meet and talk. At that time, it was a good opportunity to get to know each other. Young people could tell their feelings. They used to play this game for a long time, and no one could find them. This is not just a swing, it is the main element of the Kazakh holidays, Altıbakan. Nowadays, the youth sets up Altıbakan and swings it during Nowruz holiday. The lady and Jigit stand on Altıbakan and swing, and at the same time they start singing folk and love songs. People standing nearby Altıbakan also sing songs, play on dombra, couples swing in turn. Altıbakan remains a really good place where young people can get to know each other better. The game Togiz Kumalak is a national treasure of the Kazakhs. Togiz Kumalak is translated as 9 stones. Sometimes it is called as algebra of nomads because during this game players should use 4 types of mathematical actions. It is believed that the game Togiz Kumalak was invented by the shepherds who played using sheep pellets. Similar to chess, the participants of this game need logic, tactics, mathematical calculation and psychological edge. Mostly elderly people used to play the game Togiz Kumalak, but nowadays this game is becoming very famous and young people are also interested in it. Thus, people could play their lovely game when they had free time.
Для того, чтобы люди могли в свободное время заняться полезным делом.
In the traditions of the Kazakhs, part of the games and entertainment played ritual and ceremonial functions. For example, the game Bayge was played on the big memorials, and the games Aksuyek and Altıbakan were played by young generations at the wedding celebrations. Subsequently, many of the games lost their original meaning, but people still love and play these games, and they have become a part of the culture of modern Kazakhstan. The Kazakh village does not exist in the way it used to be, and there are no nomads, wandering people. But most of prairie folkways and traditions still surround us. We follow them, but we not always know what they mean. Bahit Kairbekov, poet.